So the presence of God was thick, and it was like he was standing in the room, and that was just the day before. And it just felt like in that moment, heaven was open as we saw God come and stand and bear witness to the injustice of African American men and women and children in that night. So that was the afternoon. That night, our gospel choir was preparing to sing in chapel the next morning, and they just sensed um, Benjamin Black is a leader, and he and some of the others just sensed like, man, there was a lot of warfare in the room. And so they just prayed over the room and just felt like God was going to come in a new way for the men and women in chapel the next morning. And they came with such expectancy to chapel. And so as they were leading, some people say that even before a word was preached, they just sensed God was in the room, and he continued to pour himself out and make himself known. And so what grew from 30 people just lingering after chapel. And we already have a culture of lingering at Asbury. And so that wasn't different than any other chapel. But there was something different this day. And it was just as if God had come into the room, and you couldn't leave. And the only time you would leave was to go get friends and bring them back. And so throughout the day, students kept coming back to chapel, faculty staff came back to chapel, and it grew from 30 to 100 to a couple hundred, to local people, to local colleges. And then over the course of time, we don't have any real guess of how many people were there, but we estimate on a conservative end about 55,000 people over the next 16 days came.